One of the keys to understanding how deer communicate too is through simple body language. And there's several different cues that deer can give you to let them know what their next move is. A simple twitch of the tail usually indicates that they're about to take a step, which could give you an opportunity to draw your bow. They could throw their hair up on the back of their neck, indicating there's either another buck in the area or they've become aggressive towards you as the caller. Or simply they could just nonchalantly move through an area and without any response to calls whatsoever. And in that case, usually you see that during the rut, and there's not a whole lot you can do to sway that deer's activity, especially if he happens to be following a doe. If you see a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old walk into a food plot and he's bristling up right away, you can feel fairly confident there's not a real mature buck over 4 or 5 in the area. That being said, there are certainly some deer that are very aggressive at 4 and 5 years old, and there are some deer that are very reclusive at 4 and 5 years old. So determining what type of deer that is really can only be gained through either past experience with that deer or the limited amount of experience you have when you see that deer walking in the field with other deer. A lot of times we see very mature bucks come into a field and they'll gravitate towards the end of the field where there are no other deer. That type of deer is a very reclusive deer, and in my mind one of the toughest deer to kill possible. He's very hard to communicate with. He doesn't like being around other deer, and at some point in his life he's realized that when he gets around other deer, he either gets in danger or maybe he gets beat up quite a bit. Maybe he's just a very timid deer. But some of those deer sport world record racks, and understanding that psychology of a deer or the mentality of a deer when it walks into a food plot is very, very important. And it's one thing that you can only learn through experience. So pay attention when you're in the field and watch those deer's activities amongst one another and watch their reaction, the hair on their back, the way their ears lay, and the way they walk. All that are signs of what type of or what position they have in the dominance chain.